The title of my book is called Run for Your Life. And I was inspired to have that title because it just appeared that most of my life I had been literally running. And in some cases, figuratively running. I was running from poverty as a child. I was running from abuse when I was married. I was running from not having the right education. I was running from a bad marriage. I was running from the lack of skills to be the person that I wanted to be. So my book talks a lot about how I was able to shift from growing up impoverished to now living a life that I always dreamed of. I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. This is a place that I had spent the first 28 years of my life. But for some reason, I just felt like this was not my home. I was destined to do more, to see more of the world, to experience more of life beyond the borders of concrete and glass. I wanted to be in an environment where my children could grow up and have trees and grass. I wanted to be in a place where they can blossom and see other people that had homes and land and property, to aspire to do more than where I was raised. So as a child, I used to always dream of speaking to large audiences, being successful. My childhood was amazing. My parents did an excellent job of making sure that we felt secure. We lived in a wonderful home. I was the fourth of 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys. My oldest sister Lynette, Eddie and Evelyn, twins, myself, and then my youngest brother Thomas. We were all best friends, and my mother made sure that we read every single day. We were all great students. My mom would read the Bible to us every single day. Every morning before we left the house, we would sit down with a bowl of oatmeal, which is the breakfast of champions. And we would read the Bible and we would pray every single day. So that made our lives concrete, even when we had very, very humble beginnings. Webster Houses, Webster Projects, commonly known, was a place that we moved to when I was about 11 years old. And oh, how relieved we were, even to live in one of the worst housing projects ever. The elevators went really fast, I remember that. I used to love to play handball right across the street. We had always been very athletic. And I can remember spending hours and hours on end playing handball. I got my fighting skills up in Webster Houses. And it gave me a courage and backbone that I still have today. We used to go to a church called Bronx Church, and we went every week without excuse. My mom didn't care if we were sick, tired, no reason for not serving God. And so we were raised worshiping God, and I think that's where I got my core belief in the Bronx Church. It was actually where I had met my ex-husband, my children's father. I met him in that church. When I was married, I lived in this building. It was a beautiful, brand new building, new walls, new elevator, new structure. It was amazing, except the inside of my home did not look as good as the outside. It was where I had experienced the most amount of domestic violence, and I was really troubled during that time of my life. Crying a lot, not having self-esteem, not feeling like I had any worth. I really wanted to do whatever it took to survive, but not only to survive, but to have more in life. I was always working 2 and 3 jobs sometimes. I can remember one of my part-time jobs. I used to work at UPS. I had worked at an amazing hospital called Montefiore. I worked really hard. I came in early. I would leave late. I actually got 5 promotions, and ultimately I was going to have an office build out. They were going to continue to pay for my education, but I had to escape, so I had to leave all of that behind. Patona Parkies. I can remember some long days, some sorrowful nights. When I lived there, I was arrested and had gone to jail, had spent 48 hours there after fighting with my then husband. And even right now, as I think about it, I'm stuck because I just thank God that I made it through. I did not want my daughter to think that this was the way a woman was supposed to behave in her marriage. I didn't want my son to think that that was the way that a man should treat a woman. So the same reason why I stayed in my marriage was the same reason why I escaped my marriage. And I just felt that if I can run far enough and move fast enough, that maybe I can find some safety. I was living in Maryland, and it seemed that I was having a pretty good life. But the people that meant the most to me, my sisters, my mom, and some other very close friends, they didn't live in the state where I lived. But you know, it's funny that God always orders your steps, even when you don't understand what is going on. So I got some comps on my home, and I realized that I stood to actually make a large sum of money if I sold my home. So I did that. I moved to Georgia. During every single incident in between, when I was able to get up, I was looking for opportunities to make additional income. I had to go into survival mode, and it wasn't just me I needed to survive for. I needed to make moves for my children. I needed to be creative in finding ways to be able to stay above board. I was anxious to be in a new environment that can offer me something more, less stress, more financial gain. And so I moved again back to the state of Maryland, and again, I was doing really well. My income was good. Most of my time, I would spend time with my family, do church activities. I was in school at the time, and I really simply was a workaholic. But I was dating this guy, and you ever know how someone is not for you? Well, this guy was clearly not for me. But every time I tried to get rid of him, he wouldn't go away. So women thinking that we can fix people all the time, I thought maybe his characteristics would align with mine somewhere down the line. But after about 9 months, I realized that it was not a win-win for me, and it wasn't a win-win for him, because I just found like I was not in a good place in that relationship. So I broke up with him, and I thought it was amicable. But a week after breaking up with him, he came back and he strangled me, literally to death. While he was strangling me, he said some words to me that shook me to my core. He told me that he would never go back to jail. And I saw a monster in his eyes. I took everything that I owned. I got a truck, called my son that was about 17 to 20 hours away. I called him, and even under the advice of the prosecutor, the detectives, and the police, I decided that I needed to run, and I needed to run fast. They told me there was no way he would be able to make the $300,000 cash bond that was set for him. But as things often work out not the way you plan, he did get out of jail. And believe it or not, 48 hours before that, I escaped with my life. I felt I was called and commissioned to actually come back to New York City, where I now sit on a board for an organization called Connect NYC, where I promote and educate advocacy against domestic violence. What I want you guys to take away from the book is that you can be anything that you want to be. It doesn't matter what people said about you. It doesn't matter even what you experience. It doesn't matter if you have money or if you've gone to school for many years and never reach your goals and dreams. Sometimes you just need to be connected with individuals that can help you get from where you are to where you want to be. Being in a different environment, surrounding yourself with good people, good words, good atmospheres, and claiming it and speaking it so that your ears can hear it. That's what I want you to take away from the book. A story of surviving, a story of more, a story of overcoming. And you too can run for your life towards a better life.